back to the Parkmans Files, a Southgate Media Group podcast dedicated to all things Heroes and Heroes Reborn related items. I am Lilith, and on the hunt for specials with me, as always, is...
It's Ricky, and also, I just want to say thanks to all the people who joined in for the Heroes binge, which was at time of recording 6 days ago. So that will really date this when it eventually comes out, but either way, thanks to everyone for joining in. It was quite good for someone who's in the UK and didn't really get a chance to live tweet Heroes at the time. So yes, thank you all.
I feel a little deja vu coming on for you in that aspect.
Well, no, I was talking to someone randomly. Randomly I was like trolling the Heroes Reborn. No, trolling's a bad word, but I was searching the Heroes Reborn's hashtag, and someone had seen the premiere episode in the UK, which seems to think that it is going to be shown over here. They're just trying to flog it to whoever they can, basically. So, maybe.
Wait, you guys didn't get it at all?
Apparently not, no. No, all I've got is I found someone who'd watched it, and they said it was like essentially like a British upfront for like all the networks, but they didn't really say what network it was going to be on. So yeah, who knows?
I just thought it was like Lost and you guys got it on like Sky or something. I didn't know you guys didn't get it at all.
We did back in the day. It was on like one of the, what I call PPTV, like Poor People's TV.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like doo-doo TV.
No. It was like on Poor People's TV when it first came out, for one of the BBC channels. So yeah.
Was it like BBC 6 or something?
Oh no, it was actually like, we've got, like back in the day there was only 5 channels. There was BBC 1, BBC 2, and like Channel 4 and ITV, which was the third channel. And it was on BBC 2, which is like the sister kind of show, and it's kind of where they test out all the kind of smaller shows, and then if it's a really big hit, they'll put it onto BBC 1. But they never did. But you know. But also it was like 45 minutes because obviously the BBC doesn't have any commercials, so we didn't get any of the long waits in between. Is Matt Parkman dead? Oh, of course he's not dead, but still, we don't have to wait for a commercial break to know that. So yeah.
Oh, so it's like watching it on Netflix. There you go.
Exactly.
Well, let's get started with episode 409, Brothers Keeper, The Descent into Madness. Oh, and it doesn't let up literally till the last episode.
I was thinking today it's probably good that they never had a 20th episode, because for episode 420 probably would have been really, really trippy. So yeah.
All right, let's get into the technical aspects of this episode. This episode was written by Rob Fresco and Mark Verheiden. It was directed by Brian Spicer. The original air date for this episode is November 16, 2009.
And I got me a synopsis. Mohinder discovers something shocking on an old film reel 9 weeks ago. Hero travels back in time to retrieve that film for Samuel. Tracy begins to lose control of her ability. Nathan and Peter go to Matt, only to discover the truth about Sylar.
Did we say the Haitian gives Peter the information he needs to find out the truth about his brother's death?
No, we don't. So that's something to note in the
major players and plotline.
Exactly, yes. Well, you know, it's the Haitian. They've only just given him a name, so
Renee,
they might.
I know. It just looks so weird in the little summary thing, and I'm just like, it's the Haitian. I don't care that he has a name now. For people, places, and things, we have Joseph Sullivan and I guess Elizabeth, Nathan's secretary. But for Joseph, I want to note that his power is empathic manipulation, and we've seen 2 other people with this power. One is for Heroes Evolution. I think the other one comes from one of the comic books. But he doesn't have to touch people for it, apparently.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hero was that for Heroes Evolution? Who was that? Do you know off the top on the notes, or?
I can. Yeah, it's in my buried notes right now. It is. Let's see. We have Sin Anders, which was Heroes Evolution, and then Morgan Harvey from Slow Burn.
Yeah. She was the Habbo character, wasn't she?
Yeah.
For the Habbo Hotel stuff, yeah. Oh, Heroes. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, let's get into
yes.
it. Where do you want to start? I mean, basically only 3 stories. It's what's going on with Peter and Side Nathan and Tracy and Claire, and then like Hero and Samuel.
Yeah. I'm gonna start off on like a little kind like just major story plot devices that kind of I wanted to bring up. So like I like at the beginning when you see Mohinder at first, you hear him talking about Pangea, and I thought that was really strange. And when I was RPGing, someone brought up maybe the aspect of Samuel was going to create his own land for them, like his own landmass to kind of keep all specials on, which I thought was a very interesting kind of concept. So yeah, shout
X-Men.
out. Exactly. So yeah, shout out to Verbal Spew
Can
on
we just
Twitter.
pause for a second about that? Like, I love how people always try to defend Tim Crane. He didn't know anything about X-Men. Really, B? Really? Are you sure he never read an X-Men comic book? Because I don't think so.
And I don't know about X-Men at the time, but the whole amplification of Samuel's powers just screams secondary mutation at this point to me. So yeah. And also JJ and Joss kind of seemed like I kind of started directing at this point, because obviously there's loads of like flare shots whenever you're at the carnival, which I just thought I had to bring up. So yeah. Let's start with your baby boy Mohinder. Yeah?
He's a mess.
So, the first thing I wanted to bring up, Mohinder is back in India. He's obviously with the woman we saw him in season 1. I think it's Mira or Mina. And something really big I wanted to bring up. Where's Molly? Because the last we knew, he sent Molly off to live with his grandmother. Or her, his mother. So, yeah, she's not there. And also he creates the compass to kind of find Samuel. At the end of the day, if you had Molly there, well, why wouldn't he have used her to try and find him?
Okay, yes, Mohinder and his sexy lady friend. And I was like, I'm sorry, if I was Mohinder, like, this whole search has caused nothing but pain and issues of inadequacy. Just let it be.
Yeah. And also, it feels like they're kind of trying to recreate the whole Gabriel Chandra creating Sila kind of thing with Mohinder and Samuel at this point. But it just fails. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, he makes a mistake, which kind of leads Samuel to getting more and more power and becoming a bit, not out of control, because he seems pretty in control of everything. But, that's what it seems like. They kind of tried and failed to give Mohinder his own kind of little creation in Heroes. But there's only so much you can do in, like, one episode? So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But that kind of ties into the Hero Samuel situation, because apparently Samuel killed him because he told him what he wanted to know, and he also blames his brother's death on Mohinder.
Which is weird, but, let's start from the beginning. So obviously Hero's being blackmailed to kind of go back into the past. Of course, Hero saves Mohinder because he's a hero with an E. And so, yeah. But the big question I want to know is, why does he leave him at the asylum? Is it just to hark back to, like, season 1 Tracy? Or, why didn't he just, like, stash him somewhere instead of, like, there? But who knows?
I thought it was, like, a shout-out to season 3 where Peter shoves his present self in what's-his-face's body.
Jesse.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Which never works. It never works out.
But, convenient plot point is convenient, so might as well move on to Samuel. I really like what they're doing with Samuel in this kind of episode, and Heroes have always kind of done it with their big bads. They just present this kind of mysterious character, and then they kind of halfway through they'll start to explain them. Samuel's always kind of been this. Samuel's portrayed as this morally grey character, but at the same time he does things which kind of tell you that he's bad. But then at the same time, he does these things which kind of make him kind of good. And, it's that kind of, he can be cruel to you or really kind to you. But obviously now...
One man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter situation. So,
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
For Siler, it was just he was out for selfish gain. And then they had that weird thing with Adam and then Papa Petrelli. Like, by far and large, I think Samuel is the best, like, big bad they've ever had.
Definitely. And I think it's because they were able to give him that kind. They harken it back kind of to HRG, and where HRG had Claire to kind of ground him all the time. Samuel doesn't. Well, he does. Well, he doesn't really have someone to ground him because he's got his so-called family of the carnival, but we don't know anything about that carnival apart from the fact that that Edgar's like his right-hand man, and Lydia is like his concubine who he just passes around. So yeah,
some family.
But now we know. Now we know what happened. He killed his brother because he kind of was holding him back, he says, but he also at the same time still kind of blames Mohinder. And I like the kind of pseudoscience that they do with Mohinder about the compass, because it kind of gives it a little bit of authenticity, but at the same time still is a bit out there. But yeah, I like the difference between, directionless Samuel from the past and kind of the Samuel we have now. And it's kind of a parallel to kind of Nathan and Peter as well, because it's not being back Peter, but Peter, I think, would do a lot better without his brother. Like, he's always relying on his brother, like a kind of safety blanket. And whereas Samuel didn't want that safety blanket and couldn't wait to get him out of the way. In a future episode, he says, someone says that, he came to them looking all rock and roll, and that's kind of what he looks like in the past. He, with the leather vest, with the sleeves cut off and all that kind of stuff, and the guy liner. So yeah.
I was like, I said he looked like he was auditioning for a Fall Out Boy video.
But yeah, in this episode, we see him very like a cult leader, which is very.
It's another life for Robert Nepper.
Exactly. Yes. Another. At least this got 4 seasons, but he still only got 1 season in Heroes technically, so he was one and done again.
Yeah, I really was like, oh, we're gonna bring Mohinder back into the fold finally, and this is what you give me. Salute.
Yep.
Ironically. Oh yeah, let's get into the crappiest part of this episode. The Claire and Tracy situation. Like, this was like, hey, let's throw 2 hot blondes together and see what we can come up with. Nothing.
Is this the first time that they've shared the screen on their own together?
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, it just seems like that. I don't know.
Like, Tracy's powers are on the fritz again. Like, I hate when they make the characters' powers go on the fritz and then they don't really explain it. They're like, oh, emotional this. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, because I thought it was like, well, at this point, it seems like they knew that they were kind of done. The writers knew they were done, so they were harking back to as many episodes before as they could. And I'll bring a lot of that up in the kind of next couple of episodes. But this one, the whole powers malfunctioning thing feels exactly like Elle season 3. So yeah, but all she's essentially got is what? It's sports reference, the yips, really. But, she's lost. And that's kind of what makes her want to join the carnival at this point. But at the same time, with Claire, isn't Claire just going to be like, well, I've met Samuel. He saved me from when his crazy niece wanted to kind of kill my roommate. Why wouldn't she say anything like that? But yeah, just a reason to have hot blondes kind of get wet, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I like that Claire again is back into that specials counselor mode. She did a really good job, and it was kind of funny when her foot got frozen off and all that stuff. And then HRG walks in and he sees it, and they're just like, yeah, it's been one of those days.
But yeah, that's all we can really say about it, to be honest, right? Nothing much really happened. You're right, it is just... That
was one of those storylines like, okay, we could have done without this, and we could have really just focused on something else. Like, it's weird there's only 3 stories, and the 3 stories out of the 3 stories that they chose, it was this for Claire and Tracy. Yeah. I don't feel like that fits in anywhere. It doesn't really serve a purpose other than to talk about like somebody wanting to join Samuel's circus because they feel lost, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But then they never really did do anything with that apart from the stuff in the graphic novels. But at this point, I don't know how many people were consuming all the extra content. Whereas, it was kind of something new back then. Whereas now, I think everyone, anyone's going to be consuming, most of the new content that comes out with Heroes. Like, for God's sake, the amount of people on the Heroes Reborn hashtag I've seen who are entering the kind of contest to win everything from like the first couple of seasons, like the graphic novel and the ebooks and the app and stuff like that. The amount of stuff I've seen people trying to win, you know, it seems like something like that now. So that kind of storyline now would have more effect, whereas back in the day, I don't know, you know, how many people
I gave up
consuming
reading the graphic novels in season 4 because season 4 was just very unsavory and unsettling the first time through. I eventually went back and read the rest of the stuff, but it was really tedious getting through like Heroes Evolution. You had the eye stories. It just got to be a bit much.
Definitely.
So yeah, let's talk about this whole. I like Willow Paulson's says side Nathan. I like Nyler a lot better. I don't know why, but anyway, yeah, let's talk about them.
Well, you know, it's a dramatic scene, right? I thought it was quite dramatic, and you know, you've got Sila's desire to leave Matt's head because at the end of the day, wouldn't you want to leave Matt's head?
Yes.
It gives it kind of a sense of tension, and there's consequence because obviously Sila's back in his own body, and you know what he can do. So yeah, I kind of like that Peter's still loyal to his brother, even though kind of Sila can appear at any minute.
I like how the Haitian just shows up and drops the bombshell. And he's like, "All right, later, dudes."
Yeah. I know, right? And it's weird because he's always been kind of Angela Petrelli's right-hand man, essentially. And here he is just going against the grain.
And kind of...
Yeah. But I think, no, but even then, like, you know, what are we talking about when he brought Claire to her? Or
like when he kept, let her keep her memories when HRG asked her.
Oh, yes. Okay, yeah, maybe then. Okay. But yeah, this episode begins as essentially what you've got the Hardy Boys who have to solve a mystery in every book, and you've got the Petrelli boys here, and you know, it's just Peter making excuses for Nathan to stay, and that's the kind of thing that I was talking about with Joseph and Samuel. You know, he needs Nathan no matter how bad Nathan treats him, and you know, there's the comic book when, you know, in the future episode when Nathan passes, you know, you see how much he needs him and why. And of course we know Parkman's going to be alive because, you know, he's a main character. He's not going to die.
And they've had 5 opportunities now to kill him.
Yes, definitely. But yeah, his recap city bit is really awful where he starts explaining what happens. And when you hear him explain it, you're just like, Jesus Christ, this is convoluted. But yeah, once again, Peter's seen everything so simple. You know, he's channeling his inner Peter of being a dum-dum head because, you know, he's simple. So he needs, you know, you're my brother. It doesn't matter who else is inside there. And I think I tweeted about this, but like it could have been a really good storyline in the fact that, you know, it's that kind of existential crisis about yourself, but it just failed on so many levels. So yeah.
And it's weird how Matt gets tangled up into this too. Right? Because they're like, oh yeah, we were looking for him, and he tried to attempt suicide by a cop in, of course, Midland, Texas. And it was just like, oh god. Like, when it happened, when Siler finally, like, takes control and, like, gets back into Nathan's body, it was just a mess.
Definitely. Ugh. So, yeah, that's basically all I have to talk about. You got anything else?
Okay, so let's just talk about the end, I guess, just to wrap this up. Like, Tracy meets Samuel at a diner, and she's like, she can't live her old life anymore. He says he felt a connection between them, and then asked her to use the gifts to help, you know, the specials. And then he just, like, starts to explain that whole thing. And then at the very end of this episode, Peter's back in his apartment. Well, no, they fly back to Peter's apartment, and then Nathan was, like, contemplating the fact that he's silent, and Nathan is gone. And then Peter's like, blah, blah, blah. And then, like... Peter asks
he's literally
blah,
Peter
blah, doesn't say anything, and I'm like, thank you. Thank you. You shut the hell up finally, Peter. So yeah, let's get into the review. Best character?
I am going to go with... Actually, is this the one where we flash back to Joseph here, don't we? I'm going to go with Joseph because he has a very Liam Neeson vibe about him, does he not? And maybe it's just the accent, but... I thought it was like, oh, we want to cast Liam Neeson. We can't get him. Let's just get someone who kind of sounds like him. But yeah, I thought he was pretty... I liked him.
Yeah. I agree. I also like young Chandra Suresh, even though he doesn't show up. But shout out to Ravi Kapoor. Love him. I think my favorite character probably is existential side Nathan. Like, I like that they're bringing all of this stuff up, and I like that they're making Peter look like an idiot.
Oh, well, it's not that difficult.
Well, they were doing such a good job with Peter, and
I know,
they just like kind of destroyed it. And I'm like, good, they're keeping up the hero's tradition of Peter a dum dum. We can't lose that.
Best character interaction for you?
I'm gonna go with Hero and Samuel. I love how he just likes to twist and turn, and he has just turned Hero into just one butterfly, a lean, mean butterfly, a killing butterfly machine.
Yeah. And I think the reasoning behind Hero not killing him is a great one, and it comes up in so many episodes coming up. He like Samuel's the only one who knows where Charlie is, so no matter what happens, he's protected by Hero at this point, no matter who wants to kill him, because he needs to find his Charlie. But yeah,
at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to go with Parkman and Sylar, or Parkman and Parkman, or Sylar and Sylar, however you wanna bring it. I quite like the kind of dynamic and the desperation in Parkman's voice. Like, he's done this. He's got himself shot because he wants to rid himself, or he wants to rid the world of Sylar. And Nathan and Peter are so close, and just their interaction as like the kind of threesome is the only way I can really put it, is really good and really tense.
Threesomes.
I know, right? Yeah. So yeah. What have we got next?
Lines? No, scenes.
Scenes. I'm going to go with the hospital scene because obviously I really like it. I think it's quite a good little scene. Very tense, very dramatic, and yeah, I like the way that it looks like he's going to grab his hand, and it's not. He doesn't. It's someone knocks him, and he kind of just like turns his hand, and it just brushes, and that's it, done. And then yeah.
I like the flash.
The whole kind of the sexual innuendo when like Parkman's shouting, "You son of a bitch! Are you in him? Are you in him?" And I'm like, oh, okay, Petrelli's set up in the place. What?
Wow! I thought that was my job, Ricky. I like the flashback to Mohinder using the compass to trace the energy to the carnival, and he kind of talks to Joseph Sullivan and all of that. That was a really well done flashback.
Definitely.
All right, lines.
So, lines. I am going to go with, you ever wonder what it would be like running off to join a carnival? Oh yeah, it'd be a dream come true, leaving with a bunch of fire-breathing freaks. Just because they're different doesn't make them freaks. Because that basically says everything you need to know about kind of Heroes Reborn and how people see people with powers, So yeah, how about you?
I like that one too, but I just like Claire, because finally she's just so nonchalant about everything. She says this to Tracy. She's like, I heal. It's like, what I do. It's like the only thing besides whine and complain. They give us like one good moment for like every 1,000 miserable Claire moments. That's just a ratio that just is no bueno.
So, yes, what about grades? What are you going to do for a grade?
I'm just going to go with the standard Primatech Files C as in cat plus.
Yeah, I agree. It's, I think if you were taking out the whole Claire thing, it's like they feel that Ali Larter's character, like Tracy's character, is needed, but she's not really at this point. She's only around because Ali Larter's.
No, she's only around because of the big ending for the season finale / series finale. That's the only reason why she's sticking around.
Yeah.
They wrote that months in advance. They're like, oh yeah, we got to remind people Tracy's still here.
Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, that's. But apart from that, I really like the hospital scene. I think it's a really good scene, and I kind of like the flashbacks as well. But they kind of hark back to the flashbacks in the next episode, I believe. So yeah, it can only get better. Yeah, kind of.
I do have a favorite moment though. I love when Matt calls Janice, because like for that one brief shining moment, I actually feel like they're a real couple, and like there's a chance for those crazy kids to make it work.
Oh, that's also another Recap City, which you listen to and you're just like, oh, God, that sounds so convoluted. So, yeah. Trivia. I have the film that Mohinder watches of Chandra and Sam, the episode on NBC.com, and they were called Suresh Extra Bits.
That doesn't
which sounds
sound,
a bit
that
sexy.
Sounds so weird.
And Claire finds Tracy and how she screams freeze.
You should have said Ice
obviously...
Queen.
Exactly. And yeah, this is the first episode where Mohinder actually
Of the
speaks.
season.
But to be fair, they've only had one scene of him and he was dead. So yes.
That tells you all you need to know about season 4. It's episode 9, and this is the first time Mohinder has had a speaking part. Now you know why Lilith is not happy.
So the graphic novels we will move on to. I've got these are Tracy centric, so
Yeah,
that's why Lilith is making this sound. Yes, it's Prodigals 1, 2, and 3. So I have Prodigal Part 1, which is called Immerse, and Tracy is quote unquote working for Samuel. She's impressed by the way he uses words, in which, she kind of compares it to being better than most politicians. Trace, basically, she's given the job to find Eli, who is a cloner, and it seems like he doesn't want to go back to the carnival, and that's kind of where it ends. A bit of trivia is Eli's boat says 04, like hashtag or pound sign, I don't know what it would have been back in that day, 042509 Cape Town. And writer Foz McDermott was married on April the 25th, 2009. So that was obviously a shout out to him. Next, we have Prodigals Part... Oh, sorry.
It was written by Foz McDermott. The art was by Dennis Calero. The Easter egg is a behind-the-scenes photo of Adrian Pasdar, Milo Ventimiglia, and Greg Grunberg in the hospital doing that weird three-way eyeball sex scene.
Oh, hello. Next up, we have Prodigals Part 2, which is called Witch Hunt. It establishes that Eli there's a prime, and Tracy's kind of tracking him, trying to figure him out at the same time. And it ends with him saying he's a working man, which sounds really weird, but yeah.
Is he a fella of the night?
No, he works in a mine like the Seven Dwarfs. Only there's loads of them, so yeah.
This too was written by Foz McDermott with art by Dennis Calero. The Easter egg was a behind-the-scenes photo of Zachary Quinto. For all those Sarmy folks.
Finally, we have Prodigals Part 3, which is called Parched. And it's basically Tracy fighting the whole load of kind of Eli clones. And she can cut loose because they're not real, so she's just killing them all willy-nilly. Oh, that word again. Anyway, and it ends with... I know. It ends with Eli explaining why he didn't want to go back to the carnival. He didn't want to go back because he was exiled by Joseph, but he will go with her because obviously Samuel is in charge now. So yeah,
okay,
that's basically it.
So this one was written by Howie Kaplan, haha, and the art was by Dennis Calero. And then we have another behind-the-scenes photo of Milo Ventimiglia and Adrian Pasdar. I think this is the one where they're on the bad green screen for the Grand Canyon. Bad.
Cool. So the following people we had joining the live tweets. They were either tweeting, retweeting, or faving during the live tweets. We have soft_guitar60, English Idiot 101, Adam the Mental, and Cinzia667. Thank you all very much for joining. And we also have a little bit of feedback. It's from Danielle, whose Twitter handle is Gastin1, the number, Danielle. And she says she's almost done with season 1, and she realizes she doesn't care for the Sanders either. I'm assuming she's done with season 1. She's talking about the podcast, which is nice to know. She thinks part of this is because she's confused about the whole Nikki and Jessica thing. They never really say what her power is. She's on episode 19, so she's sure in future episodes she will find herself going to the better parts of the episode. Oh, no. Sorry. She says she's on episode 19, and she's sure they will, divulge more about her powers in future episodes. But whenever Nikki's kind of on, she finds herself kind of fast forwarding to the better part of the episode.
I hate the Sanders Club. You are in good company.
Apart from Micah.
Even sometimes Micah.
That is all I have.
Looks like it's time for some shameless plugs and self-promotion. We'll start with the show contact info. We here at Primatech Files love listener feedback. If you would like to get a hold of us, we have a ton of ways. You can email us via primatechfiles@gmail.com. You can leave us a private message or interact with our posts over on facebook.com/Primatech Files. We live tweet 2 episodes per week every Saturday starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. For more information, be sure to follow us on Twitter at Primatech Files. You can also find us on Clamor, Tumblr, and YouTube by simply searching for Primatech Files. If you enjoy this podcast, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes. What's that? You don't have an iTunes account? That's okay. We're on a lot of podcatcher services such as Stitcher and SoundCloud. All you have to do is search for, you guessed it, Primatech Files. We're also on Libsyn, and if you want to follow our RSS feed there, all you have to do is go to primatechfiles.libsyn.com and bookmark the site to stay up to date with this podcast. Libsyn is spelled Libsyn, just in case you were wondering. We look forward to interacting with you.
If you love our podcast, be sure to check out Southgate Media Group's iTunes provider page to see a list of what other podcasts are hot and trending in our network. Or you can take that one step further and visit southgatemediagroup.com, where you can find a full list of our 80-plus podcasts, along with weekly blogs and information about all the hosts. With so many podcasts that cover everything from anime to wrestling, there's sure to be tons of podcasts that could interest you.
Hey guys, you should know by now that you can find me on Twitter at Lilith Hellfire. If you have a Tumblr, be sure to check out it's lilithhellfire.tumblr.com. And of course, be sure to swing by my blog if you are a pop culture junkie or comic book geek at littlepopculturevulture.blogspot.com. I also host several other podcasts on the Southgate Media Group network. Some of them are The Flashpoint, Queen Consolidated, and Channel 52. So if you are into, obviously, DC comic book related stuff, be sure to check it out.
You can find my writings at tvbinges.com. It's a place for all your binge watching needs, and you can also create your own TV binge and we'll help promote it. We do a monthly binge watch, which you're more than welcome to join in. Just go to their Twitter at tvbinges just to find out more information. You can find me on Twitter at RickyJDS. That's RICKYJDIAZ, or Z if you're American.
And now it's time to wrap it up. We want to thank you for joining us on this discussion of episode 409, Brothers Keeper. Hope you found our chitter-chatter entertaining and informative. Let's keep sending in those emails. Don't forget to like, share, and comment on our Facebook posts, as well as follow us on Tumblr, Clamor, and eventually we will have some YouTube content when we get a chance to breathe.
So, download the podcast, Save the World.